can still hear it and smell it. The rustle and bustle skirts across heart of pine floors, a ragtime tune tinkling from an open bywater window, a whiff of cheroot smoke, iced oysters and lager beer from a magazine street saloon. Uncover Victorian New Orleans. Music is birthright in New Orleans, and it's always been that way. Even before the jazz age, throughout the 19th century, a conflagration of diverse ethnic and racial groups, French, Spanish, African, Italian, German, and Irish, found common grounds in their love of listening to and making music. The 1920s roared along the Mississippi. However, the city roared back, ignoring prohibition and welcoming travelers. Jazz music holds its roots in the Big Easy, also known as New Orleans. In the late 19th century and early 20th century, the African American communities of the city took this genre to heart. Jazz was developed from blues and ragtime. Jazz music was most recognized during the 1920s, also known as the Jazz Age. It became popular through forms of independent traditions and popular music styles. Jazz is known for its swing and blue notes, call and response vocals, polyrhythms, and improvisation. People around the world know jazz as one of Americans' original art forms. Over the past decade, jazz music has evolved immensely. Starting from the 1920s, jazz music consisted of the tones ragtime and blues. In the 1930s, jazz music shifted towards being dance-oriented, including hard swinging, bluesy, improvisational style, and gypsy jazz. Near the beginning of the 1940s, rather than playing danceable popular music, jazz turned into musicians' music that was played at a higher tempo and involved more chord-based improvisation. Ending the 1940s was cool jazz, a considerably slower and calmer form of jazz. Throughout the 1950s, jazz music was viewed as free jazz playing without regular meter, beat, and formal structures. Starting in the mid-1950s, jazz was referred to as hard bop, where the music was influenced by rhythm and blues as well as gospel blues, which included a lot of saxophone and piano playing. Today, jazz music takes on a very wide form of different types of music, but from the beginning, they've all shared one thing in common: the trumpet. The origins of the blues are poorly documented. Blues developed in the southern United States after the American Civil War. It was influenced by work songs and field holders, minstrel show music, ragtime church music, and folk and popular music of the white population. Blues derived from and was largely played by southern black men, most of whom came from the milieu and of agricultural workers. The earliest reference to blues date back to the 1890s and early 1900s. In 1912, black band leader W.C. Handy's composition, Memphis Blues, was published. It became very popular, and thereafter, many other Tin Pan Alley songs entitled blues began to appear. Despite having its origins in the African American work music, people today of all different races play and enjoy this music.
Well, it's flooding down in Texas. I didn't hear you. I said I didn't hear you. Well, it's flooding down in Texas. Yeah. All of the telephone lines are down. Well, I've been trying to call my baby. Can't get a single sound. And the phone been cut off.
Ragtime quickly established itself as a distinctly American form of popular music. Ragtime became the first African American music to have an impact on mainstream popular culture. Piano professors such as Jelly Roll Martin played ragtime in sporting houses of New Orleans. Polite society embraced ragtime as disseminated by brass bands and society dance bands. Bands led by W.C. Handy and James R. Europe were among the first to crash the color bar in American music. Piano is often the only instrument thought of when you hear the word ragtime. However, it can be much larger than one person on a piano. New Orleans was the birthplace of many musical genres in a city where popularity for many more grew. Music has lived on in New Orleans through many different challenges, and it will no doubt continue to evolve. Today, the city is a mix of many different cultures and musical styles. However, one thing is common for all people of the city: their love of music, and that's the Big Easy.
And it's been the ruins of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one